Yeah, so
Oh,
it's...
there it is. Got it.
Okay. Okay. So we're just working out some finishing technical things, but hello, welcome, and as usual in our class we'll be starting off with a bit of a warm-up, a modified sun salutation, and then making our way down to the mat. Today's class I've designed for the upper limbs as well as the lower lumbar. So with that in mind, we'll do some folds, some stretches that if you need to meet the distance, a strap handy or some blocks, those might be helpful with today's practice. So that being said, we'll go ahead and start at the back of the mat as we usually do, keeping some water nearby just in case. And we'll begin by simply standing in our mountain, our home base. And if you have an intention, you're free to set your intention or to continue to arrive on the mat, focusing on the breath as it enters the nose, the breath as it exits the nose. You may feel the mat under the feet, if there's any weight to the feet on one side or the other. And as your breath begins to deepen, just notice how it travels through the body. And then placing the left hand on our chest, right hand underneath the belly. For the next few breaths, we'll start to cultivate a deeper, longer, or ujjayi breath. Focus on a sound at the back of the throat, something like an ocean wave, deep sigh. And as the breath deepens, feeling the hand on the chest moving, lifting, the hand on the belly, pressing inward with the exhale, drawing the belly button towards the spine. So now as we're connected to that deeper ujjayi breath, go ahead and bring our hands down to the sides and bring breath and movement into play. Start to lift the toes, the heels, and then settle in to the feet. As we inhale, we can feel an energy lifting all through our mountain, through the body, through the crown of the head. As we exhale, we're feeling the energy return down to the mat, feeling the belly button moving in towards the spine, firming the core at the end of the exhale. Inhaling, starting to roll the weight towards the toes. We're feeling that tipping point at the edge, and then we can start to use the next breath to start rolling the weight towards the heels until you find your tipping point. So just moving with the next couple of breaths, forward and back, and then we can meet at the center, somewhere at the top of the arches. Inhaling tall once more, pressing into the feet, lengthening through the body. We can exhale over towards the right side of the feet, keeping the body nice and long. Inhale up towards the center, and then exhale over to the other side. Again, a horizontal tipping point. So we can inhale back to center or continue just using a two-part breath. Inhaling to one side, exhaling to the other. Or just finding that center inhale and the exhale to either side for a three-part breath. And then we'll meet back at center. Dropping back in, settling in nice and tall. Let's feel that energy lifting as we start making small circles in one direction. The ankles moving along, pretty upright body. You can have some bends to the knees, but keeping that energy upwards, finding the perimeter edge, and then returning back to center. Inhaling tall once more and repeating the spiral, but this time in the opposite direction. Notice if it's a little choppier. See if the balance is affected in a different way. And then you can go ahead and bring the center back in, dropping back into the mountain and lifting the toes, lifting the heels. Go ahead and give yourself any kind of bend. And shaking out anything in the wrists and the shoulders, returning back to a little taller, a little longer mountain. Let's go ahead and start reaching downward with our hands. And then as we're inhaling upwards, feeling that energy lifting, we're going to bring some standing weight to the left standing leg and feeling that energy still in the left side of the body, lifting the right foot, hovering, finding that balance. And if you have it, using the momentum of moving the foot, the leg is one unit. Getting some momentum and movement to the right hip, and then letting the right foot land. Inhaling once more, standing weight to the left leg. Lifting up the right foot, internal to an external rotation of the right hip, and letting the foot land. A total of 4 of these, just to see how our hips are feeling in this rotational aspect. And then we can repeat that on the same side, but in a different direction. Standing weight once more, left side, and then outer to an inner rotation now. A total of 4. And just notice how your body is working through this side on this hip. And then we can let the right foot land. Go ahead, release any residual tension in the left standing leg. Forward, out to the side, before you cross the midline. And then we can return to our mountain once more. Standing nice and tall, feeling a little taller. Bringing standing weight to the right side of the body now. Feeling that energy upwards. And you can reach downward, feel rooted through the arms, through the leg. And once that's established, that balance, lifting the left foot, hovering, then you can go ahead and lift and swing the left leg, gathering momentum to bring movement to the left hip now. And then returning the left foot back to the mat. Standing weight once more to the right side and bringing a knee up towards the inner and then outer rotation of the left hip. Total of 4 on this side. And again, might be a little different. Bringing standing weight once more. We'll repeat this on an outer to inner rotation now. Maybe the movements get a little bigger as you move along. Maybe they're the same. And then we'll go ahead and let that leg rest. Kicking out any residual tension in the right standing leg. Forward, out to the side, before you cross the midline of the left leg. Alrighty, and giving yourself a little bounce. We're moving on up to the shoulders. Now the hands facing forward. Shoulders lifting with the inhale, and then exhale, rolling them back and down. Total of 4. As we exhale, rotating backwards with the shoulder girdle and using the breath to help facilitate the release on the bottom of the exhale. And then we'll go ahead and repeat this set, but this time forward on the exhale. Allowing the return and the deactivation, returning to mountain once more. Let's go ahead and lift up in our mountain, energizing, inhaling deeply, and then exhaling, allowing the right ear to dip towards the right shoulder. Inhale to lift up the sternum, exhale to turn the gaze. Use the next few breaths. See if you can release on the left side of the neck by simply using the breath. Energizing with each inhale, feeling that verticality. And then on the exhale, firming up the belly, drawing the air out. The core is firm. And maybe by the last breath cycle, your eyes can land to the rightmost side. Then we can inhale the eyes, the gaze, the head completely back up. And then exhale over to the left side, allowing the inhale to bring a lengthening to the body and an exhale to turn the gaze. Bringing the next few breaths, some release to the right side, and allowing the hands to face forward to maintain the shoulders away from the ears. And giving an expansion to the rib cage with each inhale. And after your very last exhale, go ahead and bring the eyes, the gaze, the head completely back up at the top of the inhale. And exhale, allow the eyes to roll down towards the top of the mat. Giving yourself on this inhale, almost vertical lifting with a slight tilt at the top of the head. You can imagine on each inhale the energy circulating through the body, through any achiness, through the lengthening of the back of the neck, the upper shoulders. And then after the very last exhale, go ahead and inhale the eyes back towards the midpoint, midline, a little farther, and then finally till you can see the ceiling. You can stop craning the neck once the eyes land on the ceiling, and then you can just breathe here for the next 3 to 4 breaths, opening up through the front of the throat, feeling this rotational movement of the shoulders, just like in our shoulder stretches, warming up, rolling back and down. You can keep the lower jaw slightly open, a sway to the left and to the right, releasing any tension in the jaw. And with your very last exhale, firming the core, and then inhaling, bringing the eyes back to center. Go ahead and check out any residual tension in the feet. Sometimes, especially if you have a tendency to grip the mat, lift up the feet, roll the toes, the heels, and then settling back into our mountain, we'll go ahead with our modified sun salutations. Inhaling deeply, reaching downwards with our hands. We can elevate the arms, and at the top, lifting through the torso. Exhale, engage the core, hinging at the hips, micro bend to the knees, and walk the hands or float on down to your first fold. Giving ourselves about 5 breaths here. We're just going to allow the hips to sway, maybe bend one knee and then the other. See if you're holding on to the head. You can gently shake the head no, nod the head yes. If the hands are on the mat, just let the palms face up and try to release all from the upper body, any activation, anything that might be holding on. And then from the heels all the way up to the hips, feeling that center of gravity, a good support. And of course, if it's tight in the back of the legs, you can always keep a deeper bend to the knees. Otherwise, maintaining that longer leg as we move along. And then with your very last exhale, we're going to roll out. Let's go ahead and slowly start to press into the feet, engaging the core, straightening up through the legs, as well as the spine. One vertebra at a time, palms facing forward. Just taking a moment to let the blood rush back to the head. And then we're going to do another fold, but this time a little shorter, standing taller in our mountain, feeling that energy like a string pulling the crown of the head up towards the ceiling. We can go ahead and inhale, bring the hands up above the head. Exhale, fold at the hips. Float on down or walk the hands down for a second forward fold. You can lift the toes. Again, lift a heel alternately or at the same time. And then
and give yourself one more deep, long inhale and exhale. And this time, engaging the core, pressing into the feet. You can come up with a long back or do a slow roll up. But with the next inhale, pressing into the core, the feet. Let's go ahead and inhale, back up towards our mountain. Exhaling, hands down, heart center. Beginning our walking meditation. Pressing into the palm, engaging the core, standing. Weight to the left side. Inhale, right foot up. Exhale, right foot down. Inhale, left foot up. Exhale, left foot down. And feel as you're exhaling your step downward, an articulation at the heel to the ball of the foot to the toes. And at the top of the mat, we'll meet in our mountain, looking down at the fingertips, pressing into the palms. Inhale, watch it rise. Separating the palms. Exhale, hinge at the hips to fold. Fully exhaled here, let's inhale, half lift, and take a breath or two here. We're going to situate the feet, feel the support of our weight at the soles of the feet, make sure there's an even distribution of weight, and then a little more at the back of the heels towards the top of the ankles. And we're feeling length, not only from the tailbone down to the heels, but from the tailbone to the crown of the head. And feeling nice and long on each inhale. And then on the final exhale, folding back. Allowing the hands to land at either side of the feet. Step a right foot back, step a left foot back, and inhale. Shoulders over the wrists. Bring down the knees, untuck the toes. Situate the torso at this modified high plank. Feel as if the tops of the feet and the shins are giving more of a support to the lower limbs, that you're pressing into these extended arms to support the upper body. Strong neck, crown of the head has an energy point all the way down to the tailbone, to the knees, that nice long hypotenuse. And then let's go ahead and inhale, tuck the toes, lift up the hips, and exhale, press back into your down dog. The heels can be lifted, you don't have to have them touching the mat, but it might be some time in your practice. Maybe you need a little bit of stretching up to the toes and then rolling back down towards the heels. Maybe you just need a little more time. So giving yourself whatever space is necessary, allowing the heels to be where they are. Take the next few breaths. Our first down dog of the practice. You can walk the dog alternately, moving one knee and then the other. Making sure your shoulders are rotated away from the ears. You can just play with the positioning of your elbows, points out. See if you can bring the points so that they're pointing back towards the back of the mat. And the ears somewhere in between the arms. Drawing the belly button really close to the spine all throughout your dog. After your very last breath cycle, let's go ahead and inhale. Look towards the hands and walk the hands back to the fold, to the back of the mat. Fully exhaled here. Inhale, half lift, still looking down at the mat. Exhale, fold. Inhale, slow roll up or long, strong inhale, back up to mountain. Exhaling, hands down, heart center. And our second walking meditation. Inhaling, right foot up. Exhaling, right foot down. Inhaling, left foot up. Exhaling, left foot down. And as we make our way to the top of the mat, slow and steady to our mountain. Looking down, let's go ahead and press into our palms. Watch the fingertips lift, separating the hands, hinging at our exhale, at our hips. Fully exhaled here, inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Step the hands to either side of the feet and step a right leg and then left leg. Inhaling, nice and long legs, shoulders over the wrists. And here's our second high plank. Feeling that length all the way from the heels to the crown of the head. And bringing the core into play, drawing the belly button towards the spine. Let's inhale, bring the hips up. Exhale, hips back towards your down dog. And the heels maybe a little closer to the mat. And again, ears somewhere in between the shoulders as they're rolling away from the ears. Giving yourself a couple more breaths. Our second dog is a little shorter. Inhaling, looking to the hands with our eyes, and exhaling, walking the hands back to the back of the mat. Fully exhaled here. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, extend the arms. Come on up, your choice. And bringing the hands down, heart center. Finally down to the side. And that seemed like an exceptionally long first half of our class. Let's take a drink of water. And then we're going to bring ourselves down to the mat just a little earlier. In today's class, we're focusing on sitting comfortably at the hips for a while. So that we'll meet first in staff. But that might entail that you have something like a folded blanket, maybe a block, maybe even a cushion between you and the mat, right at about the hips. So as you make your way down to a seated position, we can go ahead and sit at the edge of that fold, feeling that edge with the sits bones. Then you have an ability to situate the pelvic bowl upright where the spine can sit comfortably right in the bowl. So, second thing we want to think about is also the legs, nice and long. Now, if you notice your feet are really turned out, you can do one thing, and that's just gently guide the flesh of the thigh inward. But don't worry too much about it. If you've had just a turnout position for most of your life, it'll, take some effort maybe to just keep the toes and the knees in the same upward position towards the ceiling. And then just let it relax. Try to use your minimal muscles to keep this general L shape in our staff position. And as we come into this nice deep inhale, feeling length from the tailbone all the way through the crown of the head, we're going to slowly start to walk forward with our hands. And we're just going to hinge at the hips like we do in a forward fold, but now we're seated in our staff, and we're just allowing the spine to move forward until it stops. Once that stops, then you can focus on releasing in the upper shoulders and the neck. You can have your hands at either side. You can have them underneath the chest. You can have them supporting the brow line. Wherever you are here, you're just focusing on just allowing the hips to relax, feeling that length in the legs, and with the arms stretched out, you'll get a little extra stretch under the armpits, all throughout the lower forearms, wrists, and palms if you've got them stretched out. Let's go ahead and start to walk the hands back towards the hips. Inhaling, feeling that lengthening of the spine, and walking ourselves back upright finally. Returning here. Now let's go ahead and bring in the left knee. We're just drawing the left sole of the foot towards the inner right thigh. In here, you might need a block. Let me grab that, and your strap nearby to kind of support your knee if it's winging upward, and it just doesn't feel comfortable having it lifted here. Sometimes that's just fine with some people. So having the block underneath for those that would like a little bit of support to just help, then you can sit upright, and giving yourself that upright, energized feeling once more from the tailbone up the spine, through the crown of the head. And we're just then breathing 3 breath cycles here. A deep, slow inhale. The pause before you start the exhale. And the pause once more before the next breath cycle starts.
Just slowing it down there, feeling the energy here at the left hip. And after your last breath cycle, you can go ahead and guide the left knee back up with your left hand. Start to slide the foot downward and feel that leg rotating inward back to our staff position, tapping out that left leg. And then we can go ahead and move to the other side, resetting our staff position once more, and then inhaling to draw the right knee upwards, drawing the sole of the foot to a comfortable location on the inner left leg. Then noticing how the position of our right knee feels here. Maybe you need the block, maybe it's a little higher, maybe a little lower. Try to maintain the positioning of your staff in the left side of the body, in the hip bones near towards the edge of your folded blanket, or just feeling like you have a good distribution of weight on both sits bones. And as you're finding that, you'll get to your first edge, and then from here, breathing your 3 deep breath cycles. Placement of the hands, palms up, palms one on top of the other on the left thigh. You can always play with the hand position as you settle in. And hopefully you'll find a little release by the last exhale. Let's go ahead, inhale, help the right knee up with your hand. Allow the right leg to lengthen, internally rotating the entire right leg gently and tapping that back down onto the mat. You can press your toes downward, flex them, stretch them. Point with the first two, with the big toes towards the inside, and then release. If you felt a contraction of the muscles, don't worry, it's just very tight in there. You can always come out earlier if it's straining. We can inhale nice and tall in our staff and pointing the front big toes towards the front of the mat once more. And then releasing and wiggling the toes. Spreading the toes out if you can, and then just letting them relax. Let's go ahead and bring both knees up. And we're going to bring the hands back behind the hips. And here we're just going to let the knees drop to the left or to one side. If you did a different side, just go ahead and switch. Just remember which side you're on. And here what we're doing is a slight twist to the torso, allowing the rolling on the sides of the feet and allowing those knees to just drop to that natural stopping point. Let's go ahead and inhale the knees back up. Chest is lifted. Exhale, let the knees drop to the right and bring the torso twist slightly towards the left. You can always help adjust that twisting by bending the elbows more than twisting over. It's just a slight, subtle adjustment as you find those more delicate, subtle moves help. All right, let's go ahead and bring the knees back up. And then walking the hands upward, and you might need to scoot up the feet as well. We're just going to see about bringing the inner lining, the inner arches of the feet to touch, and then allow the knees to drop to either side. You can rock a little bit on the hip bones, get a little massage to the glutes, finding sort of a balance, if you will, in center, so that both sits bones feel even distribution of weight. And as the hips are able to open up and the knees are starting to open up, you might bring more of the soles of the feet together. Maybe they first start off here kind of parallel to one another, but then as the knees are opening up, drawing the soles of the feet together. And then if you're able to deepen your seated butterfly that we're moving into here by allowing the knees to drop outward. Again, you might need blocks to help. Once you find that stationary spot, Then we're going to reach the arms towards the feet. If you can just get to the ankles, that's fine. But see if you can reach the toes and just hinging at the hips, just as we did before. And then you can imagine once you hinge at the hips as we did and found that edge, then we could curl the upper shoulders, relax the upper body. And as you have a hold of the feet or the ankles, you could just start to slowly draw back and curve the upper portion of the back, opening up the shoulder blades, moving them away from the spine, getting a nice long stretch to the arms, just gently holding on to the feet, only using as much grip activation that you need to hold on. You get a nice slight stretch to the upper back. Let's go ahead and inhale to lengthen through the spine once more, and then we can gently guide the knees upward as we slide the feet and the soles back down the mat. And feel free to widen the stance of the feet, hips distance, and tapping out the knees. We're going to move towards the left or to one side. Just bend a knee and see if you can straighten out your shin at about this chest angle. And then bending the right knee, drawing the right foot up, and you can use your hands to support some of your weight. You can feel that nice massage to the left glute. We're drawing the right foot back behind us. We're going into our deer position and bringing the right knee to rest there somewhere on the inner arch or the heel or near that left foot as we're lengthening through the torso and just reaching with our hand. We can fold at the hips, bend at the elbows if you need, and just find that twist and planting the hand on the floor, and again, side, subtle weight, gentle pressure of the rib cage. You'll get a nice stretch all the way from the lower lumbar area on the left side, across the hip, the sacrum, the right hip, all the way through the rib cage. And you can play with the positioning of the upper body, hinging at the hips or at the elbows to feel a little bit more of a subtle stretch. Splaying the fingers out and breathing here. We've been here at least for 3 good breaths. See if you can give 2 more breath cycles here. Breathing deeply, even in this twisted position. And exhaling, drawing the belly button in towards the spine. And after your very last breath, we're going to inhale, start to walk the hands towards the hip so you can lengthen through the spine and the torso, and we're going to exhale back to center. We're going to bring both hands back behind us, perhaps as we were before, and you can just gently rock on the glutes with the knees bent. And then we'll go ahead and move to the other side. Now we're moving to a deer with the right shin or the other side's shin at about this, it's facing the same position as your chest. And the left foot is somewhere back behind you. Left knee somewhere at the bottom, near the right foot, or on the right edge of the foot or heel arch. And then as you're nice and long here, exhale, start to gently fold at the hips. And you can play with that twist and the gentle folding of the chest towards the floor by bringing the elbows into a deeper fold, maybe even resting the forearm of the right hand on this side, and then extending with your next deep inhale through the left side of the body, the left arm, left hand, fingers are splayed. And just a few more breaths here. We want a total of 5. We probably had about 2 or maybe 3.
after your very last breath cycle. Go ahead and walk the hands under the shoulders, lengthening through the torso, and we'll exhale back to center. Come on back to that sort of windshield wiping, lowered bridge, I guess. And we'll go ahead and one more nice deep rolling on our windshield wiping bridge foundation here. And lengthening through the legs once more. Let's go ahead and flex the feet, pressing out through the heels, and then let the feet land. We're meeting on our belly next and allowing the support of the belly by the mat to really be appreciated at the beginning. So as we make our way down to the mat, you may have had your hips opened in our deer, but now we're having them supported and opened at the same time, and that feels so wonderful, especially if you've been sitting a lot, if you've done a lot of squatting, maybe gardening, maybe just a lot of walking and hiking, whatever you're doing this summer. And keeping the belly on the mat, allowing just the tops of the feet to relax. And, you know, maybe the tops of the ankles are really tight as well. So if it hurts to relax the tops of the feet onto the mat, you can go ahead and just rest on the tip toes of the toes. Just allowing a little length as well. Moving or feeling even like you're moving the leg away from the pelvic center there. And then just allowing everything to relax. See if you can just imagine it as an anchor weight. And then with the top of the body, from the hips up, we'll go ahead and come into our Sphinx, allowing the elbows underneath the shoulders, but keeping special care to keep the shoulders away from the ears. We don't really want to retract the shoulder blades towards the spine. We want to keep those shoulder blades actively moving away from the spine, and then only using the muscles needed to keep them from collapsing in towards the spine. So we've got that nice energy like in our shoulder warm-ups where they're just nice and open, moving away from the spine, and then rolling, melting down the back, tucking into the mid-back gently. And then notice if you tightened any muscles in the lower body, go ahead and release those as well. But then we can focus on just this energy of pulling with the upper body, anchoring here from the forearms and palms. We're just pressing gently downward as we inhale forward and almost lifting slightly at the top of the inhale, allowing the gaze to rest somewhere in between our hands. Soft gaze. And then breathing here. Good 10 deep breath cycles. It's about 5 longer than we normally have, but keeping a good deep inhale and exhale breath exercise in our Sphinx today. Hopefully we'll reach more of a restorative aspect here. See if by your last half of breath cycles you're finding release up in the deepest parts of the pelvic bowl, the muscles connecting the rib cage to the pelvic bowl, the torso to the groin, to the nether parts of the body, balancing all of that, working so hard, seeing if they can just relax. Few breaths. You may feel just the skin at the top of the belly, right where the rib cage meets, moving with each inhale and each exhale.
approach your last breath cycle. Allow the chest to slowly lower while the elbows move out to the sides, and rest the forehead on the back of your hands, pillowed underneath the brow. Let the shoulders melt into the mat. And our next move will be a shoulder peel. So bringing the left arm out to a T if you have good flexibility in your shoulders. If it's a little stiff there, go ahead and just allow yourself a smaller movement, more of a 45-degree angle than a 90-degree angle. And as you're here, you can allow the face to turn to the opposite side. And we're going to inhale. Start to roll onto the left side of the body. You're using your right hand in a kickstand hand motion. And for some of us, if this is all you can do is just to lift the right hip and maybe draw the right knee upwards, you can feel a stretch to the right shoulder. As you want to play with the positioning of the left hand, left arm, you can adjust with that stretching, just with the slight amount of center right on the left hip instead of being completely on the left side of the body, just having the right hip lifted off of the mat. That's a good stretch to the left shoulder that you're able to control. If you want more of a stretch, you just continue to roll to the left side. And you may need to make adjustments, making sure you're not pinching. If you've gone too far, you can always come back out. For some of us, bringing the right leg back behind us as we reach that verticality with our body. Then you can play around as well with these top limbs. Maybe the right arm can bend at the elbow and rest at the sacrum, at the small of the back. Maybe it might want to reach backward and just dangle in the air. Placement of the palm can help you facilitate the stretch. Same thing with the bottom arm as well. But wherever you are, you might just have slight adjustments that help you to feel that opening in the left shoulder, keeping the left ear nice and open. The neck is long and not curved, crunched in. And then we can bring any limbs that are back behind us on top of the body, and then finally back to our original kickstand hand point, and then bringing the right leg, if that was back behind the left side of our body, and coming back onto the belly. Extending both arms to the sides, palms facing up. Allow the nose to just be smooshed a little bit. And then we'll go ahead and bring the right arm out to this right side. You can choose once again, either at a T or at a lower angle. Choose your comfort level and take at least 5 good breaths to find where your edge is before you start rolling over. You have enough of an open in a stretch in the position where you're on your belly, and just lifting the left hip and positioning maybe the knee to help lift that left hip. But you have enough of an opening now in this right shoulder. For some of us, just being flat on the mat might be enough. But if you find that you want more of a stretch, you can play with the positioning of the arm. You can play with the positioning of the body, whether it's on the entire right side of the body, whether the top limbs, once more, either on the sides as you're balancing, or bending at the elbow and completely back behind the midline of the body. Placement of the palms, orientation up or down. And as you found that perfect spot, then breathe 5 good deep breath cycles here. Soften the gaze. Just keep the muscles needed for this balance. And allow the breath to move the energy, help facilitate the release. After your last breath cycle,
on out with the limbs back to the side, out in front of you, back in the kickstand hand position, bringing the left foot, leg, bringing yourself back onto the belly, arms once more at the side, back of the hands, allowing the chin and the mouth gently to rest, the face, and then we'll go ahead and meet on our back. I believe it's time, let's see, for Shavasana. So as we're meeting on the back, go ahead and give yourself any adjustments, any last minute moves that feel good to you. And you can just imagine if you have a bony back that you want something to cushion you. And if you have lower back issues, especially with this class focusing there, you might want to have a very deeply folded blanket underneath the small of your back as you're laying down. You might want to have something like this right here at the lumbar area as you make your way down. Just having something supporting that little gap we tend to have naturally anyhow. If you're sore down there, it can really help. You can also help to have your knees supported. So if you have a bolster, if you have a block, having something to just help release, any pressure, compaction that you're feeling, compression on the lower back, having the knees in a slight supported fashion with blocks or a small bolster cushion. Now I'm going to sit upright as you're entering your Shavasana, giving you a little guided meditative entry into your Shavasana for today. You can go ahead and relax as you usually do in Shavasana, palms facing up, arms extended to the side. Allow the body to relax. Eyes can be closed or just a soft gaze. And as each breath passes, feeling any activation in the muscles, the joints, just releasing with each passing breath. Shoulders melting. And as the belly softens, you can think about the different points that I'll be calling out, the different points on the body, and just see if you can relax that part of your body 1% more. You don't have to physically do anything, but just give yourself the intention and see if you can relax just 1% more. So beginning at the top of the head, bring your attention to the crown of the head and see if you can relax it 1% more. Moving to the center of the forehead. See if you can relax the center of the forehead just a little more. Moving to the throat, relaxing the throat. Moving to the right shoulder, right elbow, right wrist, right thumb, right index finger, middle finger, ring finger, pinky finger, right hand, right wrist, right elbow, right shoulder, center of the throat, left shoulder, left elbow, left wrist, left thumb, left index finger, middle finger, ring finger, pinky finger, left hand, left wrist, left elbow, left shoulder, center of the chest.
Relax the navel. Relax the pubis. Relax the right hip, right knee, right ankle, right big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, fifth toe, right foot, right ankle, right knee, right hip, right leg. Center the pubis to the left hip, left knee, left ankle, left big toe, left second toe, third toe, fourth toe, fifth toe, left foot, left ankle, left knee, left hip, left leg. Bring your attention to the pubis, to the navel, to the center of the chest, base of the throat, center of the forehead, crown of the head. See if you can relax the entire body 1% more. For the next 5 minutes, enjoy Shavasana. Bring the mind back to the body. Take note of sounds outside the room, sounds within the room, and finally back to the breath. Notice the inhales, the exhales, and how the chest and the belly moves with each breath. Bringing movement to the fingers, toes, making any movement to the body like rocking or contraction and release. We'll meet back in an upright position, easy seated, one shin out in front of the other, or you can be in staff if that's comfortable as well. But sitting upright, we'll end class with our breath exercise. And today, as we're still moving through our lower lumbar and limbs, we'll use our arms as a part of our breath work today. And if you've been coming to class, you'll remember these are just prayer hands and a lot of the shoulder movements as we're twisting gently in our seated position. So bringing the hands to rest, arms nice and relaxed at the sides here. Shoulders are released and relaxed as well. Let's go ahead and inhale. Start to bring the arms out to the side, palms up. Bringing the hands all the way up at the top of the inhale. They can touch if you'd like. Exhale, palms facing away. See if you can reach the hands back behind you and touch them, or just touch the sacrum. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, right arm down. Bending the right elbow. Inhale, left side, left fingers, left arm reach. Exhale, both arms meet at the center. Inhale up. Exhale, left hand down. Bend the elbow, right side reach. On the inhale, upwards. Exhale, both hands up. Exhale, hands down, heart center. Hands out to the side. Inhale, hands up. Hands down, heart center. Thank you so much for joining me, Jeani, here at the ACC Community Room for Gentle Yoga at 1 p.m. I hope you have a wonderful day. Namaste.